That's so difficult.
John says Neovimispist says.
Weenie.
Correct.
Advert gross.
I can't remember what I had advertisements signed up or set to.
This ain't what I signed up for. Fighting relentlessly.
Why we always gotta keep score? Our words are our weaponry.
Is it too hard to ask to revive what we
Spectre, how you doing?
Hack the Planet says.
B7H30 Haxer.
Hey, Spectre. Spectre. Tagora. Jesus.
Madam Fabulous says.
Stare.
John says
Theo Stare. What did I do?
Test.
I haven't even done anything yet. I'm getting stared at already.
Madam Fabulous says.
Yeah.
Oh,
Stare,
shucks.
stare.
Spectre, thank you for the resub. 27 months. You're out of control.
John says Neovimispist says.
Get those ads gone.
Stare,
lol.
stare.
Translated from
A double
Haitian
stare.
Creole. Ship says.
Mr. Fellow.
Translated from Estonian.
B-Tip, what's going on? What games are you playing today? You still playing
Cyberworld
Doom?
SK on YouTube says.
Hey, hacker.
I'm gonna need you to put those in quotation marks next time. Cyberworld, how you doing?
John says Neovimispist says.
Just the tip.
Ship says.
Playing IRL workload just got off. Heading home.
I'm playing
Okay.
IRL.
Lol.
Good.
Dick.
Translated from Dutch.
What'd you call me?
John says Neovimispist says.
XD.
Translated from Spanish.
All right. So here's the game plan. I'm supposed to be getting a
Ship says.
Come on, laugh.
supposed to be getting a in-person interview. The shop deals and uses Juniper Networks, uses Juniper hardware.
Cyberworld SK on YouTube says.
It's 1 a.m. and I'm watching your stream.
Thank you. Thank you.
John says Neovimispist says.
$1 million.
It's $1 million. What are you talking about? I think the desk is up. There we go. Yeah, I thought it was up a little high. Status. I haven't done any of these. Why are they? Well, Madam Fabulous, how are you doing today? Crap. Did you already do that? Should you go to that conference, that con? I can't remember the date. I'm trying to remember the date. I can't remember.
Madam Fabulous says.
Doing well, Ty.
John says Neovamisbist says.
Juniper, right? I think you said Jupiter.
Madam Fabulous says.
HSE was early May.
Oh my. Well, I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed yourself.
Get with the program, oldie. Gotta keep up with us, Utes.
Utes. To what? To youths. I got no idea what's going on here. There's like, I keep clicking the tabs, they keep doing different things.
John says Neovamisbist says.
Craigasm.
Translated from Haitian Creole.
Probably security engineer. Started training for free.
John says Neovamisbist says.
Bop bop crazygasm.
Translated from Haitian Creole.
You gotta be staying nice and cool up there now. It's probably warming up there, actually. Right? Okay, I imagine I have to sign up for an account. Technology introduction courses. I feel like, you know what? I think I have one.
70 not too bad, but the air quality has been po.
Yeah. I hear you. Excuse me. Same down here. It's already broken.
Hack the Planet says.
Might be able to emulate in GNS3.
I thought about that too.
John says Neovamisbist says.
GNS3 Bay.
Translated
What's
from
going on?
Tagalog.
What did I click? Log in? I did have an email. You know what? I think
Did you hack them? Lol. Without permission?
Network Chuck had something with Juniper Networks at one time.
That's very black hat of you. Tongue.
I've changed the password other than what was seen, you little hackers. Don't try to be copying it.
사실 두려워
Oh, there's some instructor-led ones. That's why they have dates. I'm like, why do they have dates for?
John says Neovimispist says,
Web link.
Nice.
Experience is a huge enabler. I mean, someone who hasn't had experience and perhaps just reads the books, it could be a harder journey, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, so I will talk a little bit about some of the materials out there for anybody.
First off, that chair is and and leg rest is quite possibly the most pretentious thing I've ever seen. And I only say that because I'm totally jealous of all this open space that he's got room for the guitar next to it.
Wow, judgy.
And your faux hardwood floors, like all I want to do is headbutt them.
That's interested in maybe pursuing some of the Juniper certifications. There's some really excellent
says,
free
Hey,
training.
currently doing an extra Harvard cybersecurity course as we speak. Hope you good.
Poof.
Go Bron.
Damn it. Absolutely not. Alex, good to see you. Clean out some of my junk. Yeah, that's the problem. I've too much junk.
Options out there for people. One of the things
John
that
says
doesn't
Neovimispist
include is
says,
actually access to
Clean out some of your
devices that
junk.
you can log into.
Go
And,
Broncos.
that's really critical
Alexonis
for,
says,
hey,
XT.
anybody can break into the
Translated
industry,
from
maybe with
Spanish.
the associate level. I think you can go and just read that material and pursue the exam, and you'll have the baseline knowledge without actually having touched the device to be fine with passing the exam. But if you want to really move up the stack to those higher level certifications,
Oh, David
there's no amount of just training. You're going to have some physical hands-on access to.
Okay, you gotta speed it up.
And spend some stick time, working with
Ship
the
says,
Stefan, just before we
So
go any
much
further,
clutter
I
in his
wanted to get a
closet,
bit
so
of
you
input
know
about
it's
your business.
true.
John says Neovimispist says,
David Bay.
Ship says,
He's hiding it somewhere.
And like your social media, because hopefully people connect to you on Twitter and other places. But perhaps you can.
Every bedroom has a closet, but like the rest of the house, like there's a linen closet in one, and there's a hallway closet in the entrance of the house. Like there's no room in this house. I got shit lined up on the walls. I got those plastic racks along the walls, and I have another smaller room with another 4 racks in them. And there's no room. Actually, with all this free time, I should load up, like take a day and just drive shit to Goodwill or Salvation Army or wherever. I could probably clean everything out. Thank you for that.
Just tell us about like your socials and your business and what you get up to these days.
Jess
Yeah,
says,
sure. Thanks, David. So
Hi,
I am the
Theo.
Hi, Jess. How are you? Thank you for the Helldivers the other night.
CTO of a company called Shortest Path First. I actually
Love that
started.
John says Neovimispist
It's based on
says,
dice algorithms. So
That trash is
the way
taking
it
up so
got
much
started is
space, that
actually
big orange
I had been
trash behind
blogging for years under the
Jess
moniker
says,
Shortest Path First,
just
just
give
because
me
I
all
have a
your
passion
stuff
for routing
here.
protocol.
Yeah, but it's not like stuff. Like it's 3 boxes of old glasses and mugs and an old baby mattress. What other garbage? We have bags. We've got a ton of bags. We have a bunch of clothes that we can donate.
I love mugs.
John says Neovimispist says,
Goodwill. Go.
Yeah.
Postpaid Pentester says,
Hi from Finland.
Postpaid pen tester. That was a little bit of a little with a mouth
Ship
exercise.
says,
Decomposed body.
Jess says,
I do, as long as they're not dumb mugs.
No, they're not dumb mugs. We just don't have any room. We just collect mugs. You get one here or there, and then before you know it, nothing fits in the cupboard. Postpaid pen tester. Thank you for the hello from Finland. How is it there this year? This time of year?
Little mugs?
Ship says,
Coffee mugs.
She giggles.
translated from Tagalog. Jess says,
Or big mugs?
Yeah, coffee
Ship
mugs.
says,
Ship dead spin.
translated from Somali. John says Neovamisbist says,
Anything Theo owns is probably dumb XD.
Ship says,
Ship bonk.
translated from Somali.
I don't have a lot.
Those sound like the dumb mugs, Theo.
What do you mean, like coffee mugs? Like ceramic coffee cups? They're not dumb. We just have too many of them.
John says Neovamisbist says,
Yes.
translated from
Code
Indonesian.
name
Jess
Ghost
says,
6.
Little
Thank you for the
ones?
follow. How you doing today? No, what do you mean the little ones? The coffee mugs. Is that little? So you're talking about like soup mugs? No, we have a couple of those. We've got like a ramen one. We have a. Show me.
John says Neovamisbist
show
says,
you a pic.
Probably because they are dumb.
Sure. You know what?
Jess says,
What is it? Video
Show me a pic.
Ninja.
No, I'm not talking soup mugs.
Host Vape Intesta says,
Ha ha, it's cold still waiting for summer weather. By the way, I'm literally 30 kilometers away from Russian border.
That sounds fun. That sounds fun. There's 4 back cameras. Which one do I use?
John says Neovamisbist says,
So cheap vodka?
Not that one. Oh wait, yeah, that's it. Dude, Video Ninja is awesome. Can I turn it sideways? I broke it. I broke it.
Jess says,
I hear you twice.
How about now? You should just hear me once through the phone. But the
N1's ICS says,
I broke the.
John says Neovamisbist says,
It's so awesome you broke it in 2 seconds.
Jess says,
Yeah, just once now.
Hack the Planet says,
B7H30 Haxer B7H30 Rotary 2.
Host Vape Intesta says,
So how are you?
All right, I don't know if
How's
you can hear
life?
me. See?
Jess says,
10
gonna be
ounces mugs are
donated.
dumb. Needs to be at least 14 ounces or bigger.
Donation. The cups. We stole these from the restaurant.
Camera froze.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm never gonna drink out of this.
Can't see anything.
Coffee mugs.
John
Mugs.
says Neovamisbist says,
You call that guy
Mugs.
pretentious. And you have a fancy split keyboard.
Hack the Planet says,
B7H30 coffee.
Jess says,
There are no mugs, Theo.
Yeah, so there you go. Stuff for days.
Hack the Planet says,
B7H30 drinks coffee.
John says Neovamisbist says,
You broke it 2 times in 20 seconds. Such an awesome app.
Host Vape Intesta says,
Voice is still working, I guess.
froze. How far did I get? Did anyone see anything? No, I can't hear you once I walk away.
I don't think he can hear us. No.
You didn't see nothing? There's no way for me to like know if it's working or not. It's so irritating.
We saw your floor. And a chair leg.
Did you hear me talking? I was talking for like 5 minutes.
John says Neovamisbist says.
Nope.
Hack the Planet says.
We saw the stain on the floor, then it froze with the stain for the rest of the time.
That's about right.
Madam Fabulous says.
Wait, why did it not read me? Crying face emoji, shadow banned.
Jess says.
Yes. Talking over us telling you. Hi Cypher Jaco hug.
Translated from German. John says Neovamisbist says.
Sounds like a winning app.
Postpay Pentester says.
Twitch is shadow banning Molvad VPN IP addresses.
John says Neovamisbist says.
Yo, we heard you.
Madam Fabulous says.
Hi Jess Vernig one hug.
Translated from Tagalog.
RRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRR
Jess says,
Lol, almost the same exact spot.
Madam Fabulous says,
were.
translated from Haitian Creole. Jess says,
Cause there is the stain again.
John says Neovimispist says,
Froze.
What?
Lol.
In the hell?
translated from Haitian Creole. Madam Fabulous says,
E.
Hack the Planet says,
There's something mystical about that stain. Blocks all Wi-Fi signal.
Jess says,
Lol.
John says Neovimispist says,
Pro tier.
Well, Video Ninja was pretty sweet, but it sucks, I guess.
And algorithms and things
says-
of that nature. And then
Jess.
blogging under that
Just show
domain
me
name
on
for
like
many years.
Amazon
And
or
then when I
something.
decided that I wanted to start my own business, it kind of dawned upon me that I already have all
They're coffee mugs.
John says Neovimispist says,
Just take a picture and share it. Much easier lol.
Hack the Planet says,
Like that.
You need a
Coffee
Juniper
mug.
Networks Wi-Fi repeater smile smile.
Jess says,
Carrot or that. Those are the dumb ones.
I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry you're not interested in my coffee mugs that I want to donate.
El Rajanho says,
Is it true Theo once booted a seal? I'm
A
just
seal?
asking the questions here.
John
A
says
seal?
Neovimispist
I don't know what you mean.
says,
Bop bop Dino dance. There are like 4 coffee mug sizes.
Jess says,
Quit trying to push your dumb jump.
Oh my
onto
gosh, with the
Theo.
caps. I wasn't trying to give them to you. We were talking about all the stuff that I need to donate or get rid of. Like, I don't want you to have it. You don't need, I'm not forcing you to take them.
British old.
translated from Croatian. John says Neovimispist says,
Those are tiny. And dumb.
El Rajanho says,
The seafaring mammal.
Jess says,
You totally tried to give me your dumb
I
mugs.
totally did not. I didn't. I didn't even offer.
Madam Fabulous says,
Theo Olden has lots of stuff.
Okay, enough
the
with the
planet
caps.
says-
What
I
are we,
see. We
16?
aren't good enough for your mugs
Huh?
then.
We 12-year-olds? With the all caps? And who told you I booted a baby seal, Ragano? Video proof for it didn't happen. Show me your receipts. As the kids are saying. As the tic-tackers are saying.
Jess says,
Then why did you try to force US past your stain to see your dumb mugs?
El Rajanho
You
says,
said you wanted to see
I'm
them.
not saying it happened. I'm just asking if it did. The poor seal's name might have been Sammy.
Hack the Planet says,
No cap for real for
No
real.
cap, no cap.
John says
All
Neova
this
Misfist
SEO,
Throw
there's
M
all
on
this
the
search
ground.
engine.
I should.
Get all the
It'd
views.
be probably therapeutic.
Articles that I had already written out there. So I just named my company after my
Madam
blog,
Fabulous says,
Shortest Path First. And yeah, that's pretty
I
much
don't
what
even
we
have a
do is we
caps lock,
focus
so
on
that's me holding shift
routing,
for
switching,
emphasis.
security.
That
El
is even
Reginho
worse.
Wait, I'd say it was a baby seal. How did you know?
Oh my god.
Jess says,
You caught me.
Theo is so old he was shaking while holding his glasses just now.
I was
John says
doing
Neova
that
Misfist
on
says-
purpose.
Who got
I was
it?
saying.
Madam Fabulous says,
I am a blameless angel.
An angel with dirty wings, maybe.
Hack the Planet says,
Baby seal, take M to the club.
Jess says,
See? Theo is so old he was shaking again while holding his glasses.
Ship says,
Bullied in their own stream.
See what I mean?
I love it.
Do you see what I put up with, B-Tip? Do you see what I put up with? And these aren't even the trolls. These are mods.
Jess says,
While trying to prove he wasn't shaking while holding his glasses.
I forgot I did
El
that
Reginho
with the
says-
text over
That's
here.
what he looks
I really,
like when he
I really
yells
like
at
this.
Holmes.
I really
Then
like
he takes
it.
his anger out on poor Sammy.
Jess says,
Quit trying to give me your dumb mugs, Theo British angry.
Too late.
Hack
I'm
the Planet
boxing them up
says-
tomorrow and I'm sending them to
7 inch
you
30 pa.
directly to you. Be on the lookout.
John says Neova Misfist says,
I
He
listen.
probably booted the seal after he finished the ice cream he beat a granny for.
No,
El
I
Reginho
didn't
says-
say
Clouds.
I would ever beat a granny.
Jess says,
I never
You
said
don't
that.
have my address, but ha 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 ha. I have yours though.
Ship says,
Let the man speak.
Thank you, B-Tip. Finally. I never said that I would do that terrible thing to a grandma.
Jess says,
I have picture proof on my Discord that you beat up grannies for ice cream.
No,
El Reginho says,
no such thing.
Let him speak that we may hear his many lies.
I feel like I'm being
Shit
trapped.
says-
Someone's gotta play devils, angels, advocate in here.
John says Neova Misfist says,
Yes, you did. For chocolate ice cream.
I never said anything about chocolate ice cream. I've talked about Handel's chocolate cake batter ice cream. That I've said. And I
This
didn't
is-
say that I
There's
punched
an
a grandma.
entire
I
channel
said
dedicated to
what I
Theo
said
beating up
was
grannies for their ice cream.
what I said was that what had happened was what I said was it's so good that I would consider punching a grandma if she had the last pint on earth of chocolate cake batter ice cream from Handel's. I never said I did. I never said I would. I said I would consider.
Madam Fabulous says,
And ran away with Pinky.
Ship says,
She giggles.
translated from Tagalog. Jess says,
Go look at my Discord on stream, Theo.
El Reginho says,
You never said you'd do it, but that doesn't mean you didn't do it.
Hack the Planet says,
Ragano.
I was wondering about what kind of ice cream.
Whose side are you on, Ragano?
Ship says,
Clip it.
John says Neova Misfist says,
I changed my mind. I think it's
Same thing.
they're having a bad effect on you. B-tip. I don't know where it's at, Jess. Where are these oh. There's a channel that says Theo's Ice Cream Saga. That's probably where it is.
Jess says,
You are adding so many addendums to what you originally said. I was there. I remember.
Madam Fabulous says,
Moo-hum.
Jess says,
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
El Reginho says,
I'm on the side of the truth.
Jess says,
LOL.
Madam Fabulous says,
Blameless.angel.
John says Neova Misfist says,
You knew exactly where it was. Don't lie.
Kitty says,
Hi, Nori.
says,
No. Theo is lying. And trying to push his dumb mugs onto me.
Ship says,
Lamau.
translated from Haitian Creole. Postpaid Pentester says,
What is happening?
Hack the
All
Planet
hell's
says,
breaking loose.
You drown them.
This one. Or I'm smiling at her.
Madam Fabulous says,
That doesn't look anything like me. Look at how menacing that guy is. That doesn't look anything like me. That one kind of does. It doesn't look anything like me. Look, and she's
John
clearly
says
asking for it.
says,
And not even studying. Why are you trying to sell Jess your coffee mugs when you have to study?
Hack the Planet says,
Theo plus Fetterman.
Look, this is like Breaking Bad. Look at how happy I am. Oh, look, I stole that dude's wheelchair.
Jess says,
He even has the same big nose.
Kitty says, Theo lies so much why you think and say so big. Poke both eyes out with that things. Madam Fabulous says,
You ran away from your family.
Oh yeah, then me and Pinky went on the run.
L_Rajanho just cheered 100 bits. Thank you so much. L Rajanho says,
Cheer 100, please forward this to Baby Seal Charity.
Thank you for the
Madam
100 bits.
Fabulous
Oh, yes,
Live in the woods with
I'll make
Pinky.
sure it gets to the Baby Seal charity.
Ship says,
You look like you're only hanging out with your grandparents to ask them for money at the end of the visit.
Jess says,
And Stamoy. Stampy.
And Stampy, yep. So clearly, you can see this is not proof. This is AI. This is what I'm warning everyone about. You have to be on the lookout for these kind of pictures. Like, this is clearly AI. Clearly.
Ship says,
Cat. Meow.
Jess says,
That is not AI. That is Theo.
Koi Pond says,
I don't think so.
Clearly.
Clearly, that's what I'm saying.
Hack the Planet says,
How much time do people have?
I heard these were
Smile,
created
smile.
on your AI server, Tagora.
John says Neovamisbist says,
It's AI enhanced true pictures.
It's the first
Jess
couple ones
says-
that are the best.
You're even dressed in the same hoodie as some of those pics.
Nope. I don't
Kitty
have a
says,
brown one. I don't have this
I got
teal looking
Firefly
one.
AI now, so
This
be careful.
tethered gray. I don't have that either. This is the best one. This is one of the best ones.
Madam Fabulous says,
You have a mauve on stare.
Jess says,
Mauve on stare.
That's just what someone guilty would say, Theo.
Ship says,
AI knows what it's seen. This is from its memory, not its creativity.
No way. Not.
Jess
Nope.
says, Hack the Planet says,
Looks exactly like Fetterman.
Postpaid Pentester says,
Oh, they're really roasting you, lol.
Yep. That's
Madam
the rule.
Fabulous says-
Postpaid pen
Mauve
tester.
one.
Oh, the mauve one. Yeah. It's here.
Jess says,
Then we get into the cheetah Theo stuff.
Theo says,
Web link.
Thank you for the hydrate B tip. Here's the red background for you. Oregano, how are you doing today? You got a FITBA match today or tomorrow?
John says Neovamisbist says,
You ready for exercises or are you still hurt?
I'm still hurt.
Reginho says,
I'll be back out
Thank
on
God there are
Monday.
no pictures of what happened to poor Sammy.
Kitty
And
says,
thank you for the posture. No.
Theo is so bald
Jess.
his head can be used as a boo.
Which, by the way, I think it's time. I think it's time.
L Rajanho says,
season is over. I think there's an international game, but I'm no fussed about it.
Kitty says, it's not time. John
You don't
says,
even know what I'm talking about.
Neovemisfist says,
Probably got hurt on your excursion to getting more ice cream from a granny.
Probably.
Madam Fabulous says,
Web link.
What is that?
Ship says,
FB penalty.
Nothing.
El Rajanho says,
I gotta lurk, have fun, and stay away from the North Pole.
We'll do,
Kitty
Ragano.
says,
Have a good day.
ow. Flashbang. Jess says,
Theo, get me this mug KTHNX, web link.
John
What is the
says,
mug?
Neovemisfist says,
At least you didn't scam Jess into buying your ugly mugs.
I said I was going to donate them. How it? Oh, that's pretty. That's cool. It's a nice mug. This is the exact size of the mugs that I have.
Jess says,
Not a dumb mug.
How do you know mine are dumb? You haven't seen them.
John says, Neovemisfist says,
That's not what you showed.
I showed you the stained carpet.
Kitty says,
Tends
Oh,
to
yeah, remember
focus a
to
lot on
all enter the
Juniper, but
monthly
we
giveaway.
do Palo Alto, Arista, Fortinet,
John says
VMware,
Neovemisfist says,
primarily just
Cause of
consulting,
your dumb app.
reselling, traditional
Jess says,
value-added reseller type
You showed
operation.
10 ounces mugs
Our
on the
website is
website.
www.spfirst.net, or if you are so inclined and you want to type the whole thing out, you can go to shortestpathfirst.net. And we have YouTube, we've got Facebook,
Jess
we've got
says,
LinkedIn, we've got Twitter.
That one you're buying
Facebook.
me is a
It's not that
16
hard to search
ounces
on these
mug.
things, but yeah, if you just Google Shortest Path First, all one word, no spaces, you'll basically
Madam
be able to find all of
Fabulous
those things.
says,
So we've got some lightboard videos on
Web
YouTube
link.
and some.
I don't think that's an actual domain. Yeah. We're not doing
Hack the Planet
a Raspberry
says,
Pi giveaway.
Just saw Ben Affleck pull a number in the accountant too, and I was so proud. Smile, smile.
Pull a number.
Jess says,
Don't push cipher, or it will be a real domain lol.
Yeah, really.
John says, Neovemisfist says,
Other cool.
That's not what the
quite as
command
cool as the one that
says.
David has with his channel here, but something to aspire to.
I appreciate it. For everyone who's watching, I've put those links below. Go and show the love. Stefan, they can contact you on Twitter perhaps with questions. Just for everyone watching, please don't like overrun them with thousands of questions. But what's the best way to like interact with you? Is it LinkedIn, Twitter? Where's
LinkedIn is fine too. I'm to make
Madam
your acquaintance and,
Fabulous
have a-
says,
don't have money. I'm perhaps
Web
not
link.
based in the US.
Jess
I'm based somewhere
says,
else. But
Theo British Angie.
Jess, why are you angry? No angry face. It's Friday. No angry face.
Don't ignore me about the mug you're buying me.
I'm not buying anyone anything right now.
Today was the worst freaking day.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Jess. Honestly.
Hack the Planet says,
Raspberry Pi giveaways are amazing on this channel. So innovative and charitable.
Oh my God. You can't get two, Cypher. Sorry, thought I saw something come through on my email that I wanted, but not quite.
Madam Fabulous says,
I have in the past.
I think you've already alluded to that. The training from Juniper is free,
John
right?
says
There's so many
Neovimus
good
says,
options right
Must
here.
be
But
why
yeah, if you
he's
go to
selling his ugly
Juniper's
mugs. To
website
get a pie to
and
tackle.
just go to training,
Jess
you'll see
says,
all this good stuff right here. Now,
The least
I
bad thing
realize
that
we're
happened to
talking
me
mostly
today
about
is a
Juniper.
container of
For other
liquid
vendors,
coffee
there's
creamer
similar
sprayed
options.
all over me from off the shelf. Less than 2 hours into my 8-hour shift, so I had to work the rest of the day in sticky, smelly clothes.
Hack the Planet says,
That sucks.
I have 2 Raspberry Pis after watching this channel for almost 2.5 years. It's real.
Koi Pond says,
I have this dilemma where I want to use Raspberry Pi for more powerful
Guys,
tasks. I love the
now,
form factor of the Pi,
de-
but wish it had more juice sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for what they are, they're pretty good. So, Death Wish, there's not a Raspberry Pi giveaway. They created it. Nori created the command and stream elements. Why I haven't taken away her manager or her mod approval in there, I'll never know. But there is no Raspberry Pi giveaway. Thank you for popping into chat, Death Wish.
Jess says,
Lol.
And some things. But yeah, for Juniper, there's this link right here, free training. I was actually blown away by this today. Pretty much all the associated
It's the platform you're selling. What are you blown away by?
all the different tracks. You've got cloud, security, Mist. There's a design
Jess
associate. So
says,
they've got a tremendous amount of
Nori
free
would
stuff
be
here
so
that's
mad.
available to you. All you basically need to do is just click the link and subscribe. $0, and it has so many good stuff. Here's one, for example, for somebody who might have like a
D341SH0 says,
CCNA, and
I'm
they're
here
wanting
from time to time, but usually silent.
Okay. Well, thanks for saying hello. And whatever you're comfortable with.
John says,
learn
Neovimus
Junos.
says,
They can subscribe to this
Might
one.
be a contractual
And it
agreement
has
with
a
that
whole bunch of
command.
modules,
Excellent.
basically giving somebody
says-
who already has sort of that Cisco background
here?
the knowledge of
It's
how
getting people to chat that don't normally chat. You're welcome.
And I loved the inflection of that. You're welcome, by the way. I think it really encompassed what you were going for. Yeah, but now Death Wish is going to be mad and maybe irritated that there's no actual Raspberry Pi giveaway.
Yes. Dino dance.
do I transition over to Juniper.
John
and then
says
after
Neovimus
going through these
says-
modules,
What
they are
about
even
Sam?
offering you discounted
says-
vouchers. So,
So
you
are
just
you
take like
still
a practice.
complaining?
D341SH0 says,
Nope.
Jess says,
Thank you, Death Wish.
Hack the Planet says,
Like I said, I have
Or what
2
they
at
call
this
a
point.
voucher.
Yeah, but you didn't get him from me. Just randomly saying that makes it sound like that I'm the one you got him from.
assessment test, and if you get 70% or higher, they give you 75%
Jess
off.
says-
So you can basically
You still
get a
owe me
certification
one
at the
anyway,
associate level
so I
for just
expect that
$50
plus my
and a
mud.
little bit.
So I'm on the hook with you for a Raspberry Pi that I never agreed to and a coffee mug. Right?
I'll watch for them next week. British grin.
You're going to be
John
waiting.
says, Neovimus says,
Let's do a goal 100 subs, you get a pie to raffle XD.
Jess says,
You did too. You said if I told you what it was used for.
Madam Fabulous says,
I also have 2 pies. I can't wait for Theo to give me a pie 5.
Oh my God.
Jess says,
And I did.
your time. That's the long-winded answer to your question on, how does somebody that maybe is sort of limited in funds, pursue some of these certifications. And I will just point out that if you get the JNCIA in a particular track, then they have the specialist level, and they have similar free training at the
British
specialist
old.
level. And they have
Translated from
similar free
Croatian.
training at the professional level as well. So as you get these certifications, they're providing a lot of options.
Don't stare at me.
This
What did I do?
curriculum that they're offering here, this is basically
I'm an innocent party in this.
like the student guide. The one thing you don't have is you don't have
Hack the
access to
Planet
devices.
says-
So
We should
if you want
create
to
a network
practice and
tunnel
learn
with
these
our
skills,
Raspberry
Yes.
Pi.
John says, Neovimus says,
Since Nori made the command, Nori should donate the pie. X.
Madam Fabulous says,
Stare.
you're going to still need to, maybe
Stare, stare.
hack up a ladder.
God.
Stare, stare, stare.
This at least gives you the core share. And the fact that a lot of it's being offered for free is just pretty cool.
I mean, it's like we've both been in the game a long time. I mean, I remember years ago having to spend like thousands, or people were spending thousands of dollars a week for training like this, and it's fantastic that Juniper are offering this for
John
free. I mean,
says
it takes away that whole excuse, right? I love what your
Emotes
story
go,
was
go.
like. These guys are like saying
Lol,
bad things
lol.
about me. I'm not happy
Translated from
in my
Haitian Creole.
place or the position
John
I'm in, but I'm going to
says
study. I'm going to
Neovimus
buy
Business
more.
says,
It's the onus is now on the person
7H30
who's
Billy.
watching to go and get this
Bop,
material
bop,
because it's free.
FR0
And then all,
Zi,
like you said, all the when you do
EV7H30
spend the
Billy.
time, and then like $50 to associate. I mean, that's amazing. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's really,
Jess says,
people are going to have to put
"Lol, I
in
freaking
some
love you,
modicum amount of
Cyber British love."
investment into their future,
Yeah,
but it doesn't
exactly.
necessarily have to be a lot, and there's lots of options out there for somebody that wants to maybe spin up a Juniper device and actually get some hands-on. They don't have to go out and buy a physical device. You can even go onto AWS Marketplace and you can just turn up like a
Madam
trial
Fabulous
license of
says,
VSRX.
What's not to
And
love stare?
VSRX is
I've
Juniper,
been sitting all day.
Planet says,
but you can convert
Bop,
that into
bop,
packet mode,
B7H30
and in which
Haxer.
case it operates
Madam
just like a
Fabulous
traditional
says,
Juniper router.
Blameless
And you can
angel.
run MPLS, you can
John
run,
says
Angel with dirty
Neovimus
wings.
says,
run all those things.
Just
So there's
broke
lots of
emote
options,
mode
and that's like a way people can get hands-on
Lol.
with the equipment without actually having access to physical devices.
I will find peace of mind.
B7H30 Angie Shake.
Barcode Taurus says,
Bombal collab streamlin.
Yeah, I think we're way off Barcode Taurus. I'd like to meet him though. He seems pretty cool. You know what?
Barcode Taurus says,
I think he is down to earth if you ask Smile Smile.
$40 isn't bad. Or is that like, is it an expansion? Like do I have to have Elden Ring?
Pesci Hat says,
Are we buying some games?
Huh.
PogChamp.
I don't know. I really shouldn't be spending money right now. What's in the deluxe edition? What? People don't do this, do they?
Jess says,
Can't buy games until I get my mug British stare.
Shy Hat, how you doing?
John says Neovimus says,
While looking at games, but won't buy the pies he needs to buy.
Jess says,
Okay, Theo. Look.
Jess says,
I'll compromise.
Oh, Jess is like, look, Theo, I'll meet you in the middle. And by in the middle, I mean closer to what I want.
Yes,
Pesci
Daddy.
Hat says,
Just chilling out before I teach class in a little bit.
Jess says,
You can give me a pie, Oregon. My mug.
Either one. Okay. On the list. I mean, okay. So cool. I get it. Sorry. I don't think there's a dark mode for this page.
Web link. Here's that link again, just in case you forgot.
Thank you, Jess.
You are welcome, Theo.
No, the pleasure is all
John
mine.
says Neovimus says,
Just get a couple of these lol lol lol. Web link.
translated from Estonian.
That link.
What the hell's that?
Copying links on mobile is stupid.
Raspberry Pi Pico H. Good Lord. How do you even use that thing?
Peshy Hat says,
It looks like you're doxing yourself on the info page. What face?
On this page? Where was that? On this page. Oh yeah, that's everything. How about that?
Jess says,
I was looking
Yeah.
for like dark mode.
This is the mug Nori wants. Web link.
Thank you. It's the same one. Butterfly.
What? No.
Yes. I just clicked on the link you put.
John says, Neovamisbist says,
No mug for Nori till she buys a pie for the giveaway.
Jess says,
Web link. That link.
Yeah, they're the same link, Jess.
Web link. Ike, why it wasn't copying properly.
Jess says,
You know that suits her perfectly.
It certainly
Kitty
does.
says, Why do you keep looking at mugs?
Because y'all keep sending me links. I click on anything. That's the rule. I click on anything. Anything.
Jess says,
You're being me. Nori. That last mug was the one I told him you want.
Kitty says, I didn't see had ad Noiki one of you. Jess says,
Web link.
Hack the Planet says,
Love a good sturdy mug.
Nope. Nope.
Kitty says, Yes, I need that mug. Buy me at the Noiki one, really.
Oh, no.
Jess says,
See, Theo?
I believe you. Yeah, I know. I knew Nori would like it. Yep.
Kitty says, Have you bought me it yet?
No.
Hello.
Hello.
Jess says,
He's buying me mine too.
John says Neovamisbist says.
Web link.
Kitty says. Wow, call us #1 mods. Won't even buy us a mug. But yet we have to stare at your mug every time you stream. Imagine. Fomachina says.
Hi all. Less than 3.
John
Faux
says
Machina?
Neovamisbist says.
Hello, how are
I'll
you?
take that one. 20 ounces.
I don't know where I'm at here. Let's go back out
Jess
the learning
says-
portal.
Theo, all of your mods want
Like-
mugs now. You're welcome.
Again with the "you're welcome."
Kitty says. Do I have to make a mug giveaway command?
No, please.
Jess says.
Yes, Nori.
Peshy Hat says.
If I become a mod, can I demand a mug too? PogChamp.
Jess says.
Yes.
No! You mods are out of control.
Jess says.
British old.
Translated from Croatian. Hack the Planet says.
You have no power here.
It's obvious. All right. Network technology foundations. I mean,
John says Neovamisbist says.
Can just remove the pi command lol.
Jess says.
Don't make me change your title, Theo.
Joss 2001 says.
Hello, hello.
Joss. How you doing? Welcome back. What's been going on? What's the problem here? Course details. Training. Oh, I
Doing
pop
great.
up. Allow. How's that? Try it again. There it is.
Jess says.
You said Joss with such relief as a distraction, Theo.
No, I said because Joss hasn't been here for a while. It wasn't a relief from the ass whooping that my mods are dealing.
Joss 2001 says.
Theo and I are old friends.
Hello, welcome to the
John
course.
says Neovamisbist
Why
says.
are you here?
B7H30
Do
Angie.
you want to learn about networking, or are you forced to learn about networking because of your job?
A way to start the video.
Either way, you're about to learn a lot about networking. We start this course with a collection of 4 very short
Jess
modules.
says.
You will
Well,
learn
he is
about the
old.
different components that you will see on networks. You'll learn about the different network types that you will encounter in your career. And you will also learn about the characteristics of very large networks. By the time you get to the end of these 4 short videos, you will understand more about networking than the majority of people on Earth. I promise. Let's get started.
It's a pretty amazing world that we live in. You are able to open up an application and
John says
access data
Neovamisbist
in a
says.
faraway location
Web link.
at any time in the blink of an eye. And you're obviously curious.
Thanks for the hydrate, Joss.
How am I able to access that data? How is the data able to flow from me to the
What do you got there, Spectre?
This course will teach you how this works. And it's not that complicated. As you go through the modules in this course, you will step by step build enough networking knowledge that you'll be able to understand and explain to others how all this networking magic works. Let's keep going. Accessing data and applications over a network is easy, but there's actually a lot going on behind the scenes when you do that. Accessing data over a network requires traffic
Just 2001
to be
says.
Across multiple
It feels like AI is
devices
whooping our
and
ass,
forwarding
saying
paths.
Jobs Theo.
And the data
Really?
is also returned to
I don't know about that.
requesting client application. There's a lot of networking components that play a part in how this process works.
Like what?
I want you to understand something here. You already know more about networks and network troubleshooting than you probably realize. We've all connected to a network, and we've all been unsuccessful.
Like the job market is not doing well.
And what's the first thing you
Job market wasn't doing well earlier this year too. What are you struggling with, Joss? Nori.
John says Neovamisfist says.
Hasn't been good in a bit.
Jess says.
Theo.
Fomachina says.
Jess.
Lol.
Faux machina. Don't encourage them.
Fomachina says.
Yes.
It's actually not a bad
Jess
idea.
says.
Click my link, Theo.
Joss 2001 says.
I got a job, but a lot of my homies struggling. I feel bad about it.
It worked. Discord opened. Well, help them as much as you can. Help them learn. Help them figure it out. I'm looking for a job right now too, so like, I get it.
Dude, why? What's going on here? Is my wireless access point not running anymore? Did I forget to pay my internet service provider bill? Is my device new and maybe doesn't know the network password? Is there a problem with my internet service provider?
Jess says.
Maybe I should call.
Don't ignore me, British Angie.
I didn't ignore you. I said the Discord link worked. And I said it's actually a great idea.
I didn't make the command.
Okay. No, I didn't. It
You
opened over
ignored my
here.
link.
It opened on the other screen. Okay. Oh, the TikTok one. I'm sorry. Okay.
Kitty says. Mug give away when? Jess says.
That was
I'm
my
going to
link.
shuffle the deck just like this, and I'm going to cut the deck a couple of times too. Nothing too fancy because I don't want to blow your minds until the very end of the video. You're not going to believe this. One card from the middle of the deck goes into the back of my hand. Your card.
Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down. That's how you do it, gang. That's how you do it.
Fomachina says.
Lamau.
That's how you do it.
Translated from Haitian Creole.
Nicely done, Jess.
Kitty says. Wow. You fell for that.
Yes, because again, I click on anything.
Jess says.
Danger dance.
Translated from French.
Anything.
It's pretty powerful stuff there. You know what? That same intuition and those same troubleshooting skills apply to any networking troubleshooting situation. So you're halfway there.
Halfway, shit, let's go.
A good definition for a network is two or more connected devices. This connection enables the devices to share resources like applications and data. There are two ways to connect to a network. A device can connect to a network using a cable and send electrical pulses or pulses of light down that cable to transmit data, or a device can connect wirelessly to a network and use
with magic
to transmit that same data.
Okay, we're going to skip ahead here.
To a network when it comes to security, speed, and reliability. And because of those reasons, you often see wired network connections in corporate networks. Since you're probably watching these videos to begin a career in the networking field, we focus a lot on wired network connections in this course. One popular method for connecting wirelessly to a network is using your mobile phone. With that phone that you have in your hand, you can send voice, video, data, as long as you have close proximity to a mobile cell tower. And mobile service providers install or lease these towers in a particular region, like a state, a country, or through connections with other mobile service providers. Your mobile service provider can offer you a wireless connection anywhere in the world. There are a couple of disadvantages in using a mobile wireless connection. If you're not close to a cell tower, your network performance can suffer. Your speeds won't be as fast, your applications won't work as well, your video might be choppy. And if there is any important event occurring, the network can be so congested that you may not be able to connect and receive any data at all. You might be watching this presentation on a tablet, a phone, or a laptop that is connected to a wireless access point, a Wi-Fi connection. All those devices come with a Wi-Fi network adapter in them, and it makes it so easy to connect and use radio waves to send and receive data. It's magic. It's everywhere. It's Wi-Fi. I don't want to say anything bad about a Wi-Fi connection, but there are a couple things that you probably already realize or at least want to think about. Similar to a wireless mobile connection, the further you are away from that wireless access point, the weaker your signal strength is going to be. You're not going to be able to send and receive data as reliably or as quickly. And you also have to be careful about the wireless access points that you do connect to. A lot of people, for some reason, seem to love to set up fake wireless access points that look like legitimate, safe places to connect to, but for some reason are not. So you have to be careful about the security of your Wi-Fi connection. This screen is super important. As you move through this course, you are going to see a lot of networking diagrams. And you're going to see different device types in those diagrams, and it might be helpful for you to be able to identify them.
John says
The first one we'll look
Neovimistus
at
says,
are what are called host devices.
For some reason, the lol.
These are simply computers that are running an operating system and normally some type of application that enables them to access the network. These are the types of devices that actually connect to the network. Now, the remaining devices that you'll see in a networking diagram are devices that actually comprise
Top tier training
the
here,
network.
lol.
So I'm going to keep this simple. What I want you to see is that for some reason, the networking industry has decided that in a network...
Well, it's not a security program.
I can remember that. Routers are round. Okay. So now I can identify in a networking diagram the routers. And for some reason, the networking industry has also decided that switches are square or maybe a little bit rectangular. Now, the colors of the round routers and the square or rectangular switches can vary between vendors, but if we can remember that routers are round and switches are square or maybe a little bit rectangular. Now, you may also see security devices in a
Kitty
networking
says,
diagram. I've seen
also,
their
how
shapes
funny
vary a
is
little
Twitter
bit
right
in the
now
networking
with
diagram.
Elon and Trump? Twitter turned into a kids' playground lol. I do not want opinions on it all to cause political drama. It's just the situation. John says Neovimistus says.
Seems like entry beginning IT.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that, Nori. I don't know what to believe. I don't know what to believe just yet. I think it'd be entertaining if there were a fallout between them, but I just don't know what to believe yet. I saw the threat of him taking away his
Nori is stirring the pot.
Trump threatened to take away all of Elon's government contracts and subsidies.
Or see in this course, all of the security devices like a firewall that can filter the traffic that's allowed to flow across the network, they're all going to be rectangularly brick wall looking thing, okay?
Rectangularly brick wall looking thing.
Diagram and identify, hey, those are the hosts, Those devices are routers, and
Kitty
these are the
says, "You, which is silly that
Each
brings
of the devices
America
that you see in a
millions."
network diagram will contain at least one network interface. Sometimes you'll hear a network interface referred to as a port, an Ethernet port, a network port, but the word port will be in there somewhere. Now, some devices have one interface, some devices have multiple interfaces. It depends on their role in the network. For example, most hosts will contain a single interface. Some servers, larger computers, may contain multiple interfaces that enable them to be connected to multiple networks for user access, and management access, and backup purposes. Switches, of course, have multiple interfaces in them because they are a connectivity device. They are what devices use to access the network. So a switch will have a lot of ports in it, and routers will as well. They won't have as many as switches do because routers just connect switches, and there's probably not as many switches as there are hosts in most networks. So understand that to connect to a network, you need some type of network interface, and some devices have more interfaces than others. Juniper Networks sells routers and switches. It's highly likely that you're
Kitty
going to walk into a
says,
data center at some point in your networking
"Did
career
love
and you will
somebody
see
put a comment too saying nobody will win the argument but Elon, because nobody can remove his posts lol."
Yeah, but I also like how they're all arguing from their own social media platforms that they own.
devices in there. Now we have switches, for example, in all different shapes and sizes. What customers will do is they'll think, well, I need to buy a switch. How many ports do I need? What type of ports? Do I need copper ports, fiber ports? What speeds do I need? I want to plan for future growth, and I also need a switch that includes these capabilities. And we'll have a switch that will exactly meet their needs. The same thing with routers.
This why you all should have voted for me. A vote for me is a vote for Paul's Noiki one wiggle.
What I do want to recognize, as I mentioned on the previous screen, is that switches have multiple ports, and routers will have multiple ports, but not as many as the switch, right? So again, these are the types of devices that these icons in those networking diagrams represent. Welcome to the world of protocols. In the networking world, there are many protocols that define exactly how different functions on a network should work. Each protocol is generally associated with an acronym, so there will be a whole new list of acronyms you'll become familiar with over time. And these protocols define the rules that determine exactly how different functions on the network are performed. As long as all the devices follow these rules, adhere to these protocols, we have great network interoperability. If you can think about the different devices that are right now connected to your network at home, you probably have phones and tablets and laptops and televisions. They're all able to connect to the network and send and receive data because all of these devices adhere to a set of standards. We don't discuss every networking protocol in this course, but we do discuss some of the key foundational
Also,
networking protocols that help you
really
understand exactly how networks function.
Really what?
The host devices that connect to a network.
How's jobbing?
Thanks for asking. Only had one call from the 30-some applications so far. At least 5 rejections. I had one introductory call this week, and I'm supposed to be getting an invite for an in-person interview next week.
John says Neovamisbist says,
I'll offer you an unpaid internship.
Ooh. As lucrative as that sounds, I'm going to have to pass.
Yes, there's also an operating system that's fairly popular in the networking world called Linux. This is an interface that enables you to use those.
Fairly popular.
And remember, some of that hardware is related to you accessing a network.
But it has benefits.
Guess what? The networking devices.
What? Barn cats?
That we talked about earlier, they also run an operating system. It's probably not Windows, but most networking
One
networks
Raspberry
have their own
Pi
operating
Pico.
system that
translated
controls
from Indonesian.
their platforms.
Lol.
It's no different. We have an operating system called Junos OS. It runs all of our routers, our switches, and our security platforms. I never really understood why, but it seems to be really easy to learn how to use. I used to teach Junos OS classes to our customers, and it was amazing how quickly they picked it up, even people that had no networking experience. I've always told people by lunchtime, the second day of the course, everybody was a Junos expert. It was like giving a tablet to a child. 30 minutes later, they're showing you how to do things you couldn't believe. So it's amazing. So you'll see as you get more networking experience and you start working with more networking devices, there'll be some different operating systems that you'll be exposed to and become familiar with. The operating system on most networking devices will include a graphical user interface, or GUI. For example, on Junos OS networking devices, there is a graphical user interface called JWeb. It is web-based. You can connect using a web browser, log in, and perform most device management operations. A graphical user interface can help a network administrator perform functions on a device without needing to enter any commands at a prompt. Almost every networking device that you encounter will provide a command line interface, or CLI. The CLI enables you to enter commands that will retrieve output or manage the device's configuration. The difficult part of
Kitty says
is you have to know the
he would just take that pie and use it in a giveaway.
Is a Junos OS CLI. Remember, I said earlier that for some reason, this Junos OS CLI is very easy for people to learn. Remember, by lunch the second day, all of my students are experts on how to navigate.
Oh my God. Yes, I heard you the first time, buddy.
Switch, router, or security platform. As we move throughout this course, we will use the Junos OS CLI to provide you examples of real network output and configuration.
Okay, break time. God, I'm on fire. Did you see that? It's like 2 seconds, maybe 3. I was done. Ending for sin and multi and maybe plex. Pelvic bone. This will acceptable, unacceptable. Exited cry from a kid on the, I don't know what that is. What a ballerina might do on one toe. Twirl, spin. Permit, allow. Richards of the Rolling Stones. Radiate as energy. Exude. Stooge with a bowl cut. Mow. Ilium. This will not do 2 words. I hate the 2-word ones. Minute 35. Yep. Can't imagine. Right now. Personal area network, local area network, campus area network, metropolitan area network, wide area network.
There are different labels that are assigned to different network types. All of the labels end in AN, and the AN stands for area network. And that's what this is about. These labels identify how big of an area does a network encompass. Let's take a look at these different network types.
John says
that we're going
Neovamistus
to
says
discuss is called a personal area network, or a PAN. I had not heard this term before I began preparing for this course, but it makes a lot of sense. A personal area network is a person and a fistful of personal devices that they control that are connected together to exchange data. I think about common things like we have a phone with a Bluetooth headset that it's connected to, a watch that connects to the phone. Other people aren't connected to this network. This is my personal network. You see these types of networks all the time. A local area network, or a LAN, is one of the most common networks you are going to administer. You probably have a LAN at your house. Think about it. You have multiple devices that are connecting to a wireless access point that was probably given to you by your internet service provider. There's a wired connection that leaves that wireless access point, and that connects to the service provider's network. You are responsible for administering the devices on your LAN that connect to that wireless access point. Businesses also have a local area network at even the smallest locations that they maintain. This network may have a few more components than your home LAN does, but it's still similar in concept. You will have local devices that connect to local networking components to provide business services to local users at that site. These businesses need someone like you to manage and maintain these small LANs that they may have at locations around the world. This is a great career opportunity for you. Our next network type.
Campus.
Area network, or CAN. Let's think for a second about what types of organizations have a campus. I think about medical institutions, large organizations, large companies like manufacturers, technology companies, universities. We have multiple buildings at one location. Each building has a local area network, but we want to connect those local area networks together. These separate LANs are connected so everyone can collaborate. The next network type is a metropolitan area network, or a MAN. This type of network spans a metropolitan area or a particular region.
I'm just kidding. I just got a gifted sub to GoPro's channel.
Is that what's supposed to happen? Let me think about that.
Our customers within that region
He
want to
says.
connect multiple locations.
Who did?
For example, a manufacturing.
Thank you. Thanks, Pierre.
A manufacturing facility close to the port that's not.
I did.
Shipping office. And they also.
Did you mean to give it to me? Because I got one.
In larger metropolitan areas, there are often multiple service providers that offer managed services. The final network type that we discuss is called a wide area network, or a WAN. The next network type is a area network, or a MAN. This type
That's cool.
spans a metropolitan area, or
He deserves it.
Whaler. Hey. Wow. Thank you so much. 10 gifted subs.
Thank you. Thank you for the resub, Pierre. You're making the rounds. Thank you.
network customers with.
Thank you for your resub. 29 months in a row. Pure. Thank you.
Has a headquarters office downtown, a manufacturing facility close to the port that's not too far away from their shipping office, and they also have a location at the airport on the north side of town. In larger metropolitan areas, there are often multiple service providers that offer manned services. The final network type that we discuss is
Kitty
called a
says,
wide area network, or
needs
a WAN.
more hype than that
You
for
may have heard of this
29
network type
months.
before. The
You
name,
better
of
get
course,
up
gives
and
this
start
network type away.
dancing.
We have
I'm already up. You'd like to see that. "29 months is a long ass time, Pure. Thank you. Thank you for the sub. Thank you for hanging out in the Discord, for the news bot, for modding the Discord. Thank you.
Give us a happy thank you wiggle.
Thank you.
the network that now spans a wide area. Now, a WAN can be something simple like an internet connection. Many organizations with locations in multiple places use internet connections at each local location to establish connectivity between all of the locations.
No wonder you do not
This
dance.
type of WAN works fine.
That was such a
as long as
dad
the internet
move.
connections are reliable, if the traffic does not meet any special guaranteed levels of service. The internet is the world's largest WAN, and many organizations use this as their WAN network. Some organizations, however, do require guaranteed connectivity, high availability, and certain levels of service for the traffic they need to transport between their remote locations. They're running business-critical applications, voice, video, control systems between their remote locations, and they need these dedicated types of services. So a WAN network can be an internet connection, but it also can be dedicated
Hack the
private links
Planet
between
says.
remote locations.
When does a joke become a dad joke?
Wait, is this the beginning of a joke? I don't know. When does a joke become a dad joke?
Hey, do you know that wireless access point that your internet service provider gave to you when you signed up? You know how they had you plug a cable into the wall and then into the back of that wireless
When it
access
becomes
point and then
apparent.
turn it on? You ever thought about where that cable leads to? Believe it or not, on the other side of the wall, there's a connection to your internet service provider's network. And most internet
Pure
service
says.
providers in their network
A
have
square
hundreds
is
to
less
thousands
ridges
of
than that
devices.
dance.
You know how they had you plug a cable into the wall and then into the back of that wireless
John says
and then turn it on?
Neovamisbist says.
You ever thought about where that
You know
cable
all of
leads
this
to?
info, lol.
Believe it or not, on the other side
I'm just cruising through it. Just cruising through it to see where I'm going to be deficient.
and most internet service providers in their network have hundreds to thousands of devices to forward your traffic through. Let's learn a little bit more about large networks.
This is the problem. Like, I don't know.
That cable that runs down the road eventually leads to
I don't know when I'm going to run into what I don't know.
data center. These very large buildings have specialized power and cooling capabilities that enable thousands of devices to be installed in a single location. If you ever walk into a large data center, you will see row after row of racks. The networking equipment is installed in these racks. These racks provide easy access to the front and the back of the networking equipment, where the power and the networking are located. These data centers run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and are staffed accordingly. There's a very high likelihood that if you pursue a career in networking, you will at some point have a job or perform tasks in one
John
of these large
says
data centers.
Neovamisbist says.
You're a rack.
Let's talk a little bit about something called the cloud. You may have heard about this before. About a decade ago, I started hearing everywhere I turned the word cloud in the networking world, and it took me a little bit to understand what the cloud meant. So let me explain it to you as best I can. In many networking environments, there could be a particular service that you would like to run, install, offer to your users. But there's a problem. To install this service, you have to have probably a data center.
Hack the
And even
Planet
if you do
says.
have a data center,
Here's
you
the
don't have
thing about
equipment in that data
IT.
center that's
You're always
powerful
going to
enough
run
run
into
this
things
service,
that you don't
and you
know
may
or
not have
haven't
the
experienced
people
before.
on staff
Just
with
gotta
the
be the kind of
skills
person to keep
to
it
run
at when
this
others
service.
would likely give up.
So what do you do?
Yep. Not a problem.
Yourself and figure out how it works, or you can do what a lot of
I don't know how to give up.
the past several years, look for somebody who's already running this service in their data center. Because there are companies that do build their own data centers and run popular complex services in them and sell access to companies and individuals. We've all accessed services in the cloud. Where do you think a lot of your email is stored? How about those photos and contacts on your phone? All your text messages. Have you ever lost your phone on an amusement park ride? And when you got a replacement phone, your photos and messages magically showed up? Hey, my contacts are still here. That's because they are stored in somebody else's data center. And the term for this is cloud. It doesn't
And they're making money off that shit.
and they sell us access to it. Many services are run in this fashion, and cloud networking services have revolutionized the way that networks are architected,
I'm snacky.
orchestrated, and maintained. It's been a complete revolution. You will, in your networking career, access many cloud services and provide those services to your users.
Except when it hits 4 p.m. and it's the end of your workday. Because that's quitting time and it becomes a tomorrow problem.
One of the best experiences we had for me was, it is a network of networks. Now let's think about this for a minute. Let's think about different network types in this course. How a PAN and a LAN and a CAN might connect to a metropolitan area network. And then how about if we connected one metropolitan area network with another metropolitan area network and another metropolitan area network, and we went around the entire country and did the same thing. And now we have a national network that everyone can connect to, and then we connect one national network to another national network that's done the same thing, and we continue this process around the globe. Eventually, we have
Yes,
a
the
network
job
of
and
networks.
career is important,
And that's what
but
the
so are
internet is.
boundaries.
Yep.
D.
It allows you to transfer
Agree.
and access services anywhere around the world. One of the great things about networking is that it's such a broad field There are so many different areas that you can specialize in as you gain more experience. After this, you have a good base of fundamental network knowledge, and that will qualify you to perform in a networking environment. As you gain more experience, the list will increase, and then opportunities are going to open up, and you'll be able to find an area of networking that you really enjoy. And if you decide once you get into that area of networking that, hey, this wasn't as great as I thought it was, there's other places for you to go. Networking is an entire industry. Let's think back to your first job. It wasn't that long ago, was it? Do you remember that you didn't know what you didn't know? I don't care what the job was if you were...
Story of my life, brother.
Watching videos is lame. Gotta do some networking.
I know.
D.
I know.
And you were trusted, then hey, now I think we're ready to teach you.
I've tried that. The GNS3 route.
As you gain more experience, you gain more responsibility, more benefits. I bet your first networking job will work the same way. You're going to start with a little small basket of skills.
What did you think? What did you think?
Jeez, oh man, okay.
I hope you got out of those videos is that you probably already understand more about networking than you realized. You've used networks for the majority of your life, but maybe you didn't think about those different components, those different network types that you are using on a daily basis. So you already know a lot and you just learned a lot more. Hey, you're doing a great job. Let's keep going.
Next. Close. Data transmission in a network.
Hello and welcome to Module 2. I'm glad that you're still here. I have a collection of videos in Module 2 that will teach you how data that's created by an application on one device on the network is prepared for transport, how it's transported across the network, and delivered to an application that's running on a completely different device. This is what networking is all about. And what you'll see in these videos is that the process is not that complicated. It's going to be easy for you to understand, so let's get started.
What the guy in the short sleeve shirt doesn't know about the data center he's standing in. It's actually very cold.
Thought about that.
Well, what your computer could do is simply take that large file and that email and just send it out on the network as a huge chunk of data. Well, there's a couple of problems with that method. The first one is you would consume a lot of network resources doing that. And if any of the file's contents, any of that data did not reach the destination, you'd have to resend the entire file. And so this is not the most efficient way to transfer data across the network. Let's look at a better way.
Chunks, pieces.
Large chunks of data across the network is to break that large chunk of data into smaller pieces. And those smaller pieces can be sent on the network more efficiently, they consume less network resources, and if any of the data did not arrive at the final destination, it's much more efficient to just resend the missing pieces of data instead of resending the entire file.
Ospulsa7 says,
breaking a large chunk
Hi,
of data
Theo.
into smaller
Looking
pieces
good, man.
enables the data to be
Nice to
Packet.
see you do some networking. Smile.
Speaking of which, Packet, how you doing? Good to see you again.
Information needs to be added to the data before it is transmitted so that the transport devices can determine how to forward this data to the correct destination. To help people understand how addressing
Doing great.
information is
Smile,
used to
smile.
forward
Great.
data on the network, you often see the analogy of the postal service. If you can think back to the days of you writing a letter and putting it in an envelope, and then you'd put the destination address for that letter on the envelope, right? You'd even include your source address. So if for whatever reason it couldn't reach the destination, the postal service could send it back to you. The postal service uses that information to figure out how do we get this letter from here to the final destination. Let's take a look at how they do that. Once the Postal Service has your letter and reads the destination address, they can determine the most efficient path for that letter to reach its destination. And it will generally be processed by a series of sorting centers. And so a new address will be added to that letter, and it is the address of the next sorting center in the forwarding path of your letter. That forwarding address will change at each sorting center in the path until it reaches the final sorting center in the path. The final sorting center in the path is where the postal carrier can pick up the letter and deliver it to the final destination. And once it gets there, of course, the end user can open that letter and read the data that you sent. And this completes the process from source to destination using the postal service analogy. The reason the post office analogy has been used all these years to describe data transmission is because it works. Remember those chunks of data that your computer's ready to send?
Luca taught me this.
addressing information added to it.
I wonder how Luca is.
Used to forward it to its ultimate destination.
D33's bot says.
Similar to a post office sorting center, the network
Translated
devices
from
along the
Danish.
forwarding path use the
Bruh, these bots. Spectacular name. Welcome back.
addressing information to determine the correct path to forward data to its final destination. Once host A has the data broken down into smaller pieces, addressing information is added to each piece of data.
Hold on. Hold on.
The final sorting center in the path is where the postal carrier can pick up the letter and deliver it to the final destination. And once it gets there, of course, the end user can open that letter and read the data that you sent. And this completes the process from source to destination using the postal service analogy. The reason the post office analogy has been used all these years to describe data transmission is because it works. Remember those chunks of data that your computer's ready to send? Every little chunk, every piece of that data has some addressing information added to it that can be used to forward it to its ultimate destination. Similar to a post office sorting center, the network devices along the forwarding path use the addressing information to determine the correct path to forward data to its final destination.
Grey Hatter says,
You follow McNally, right?
No. What are you talking about? McNally on what? YouTube?
Grey Hatter says,
For lockpicking.
The lockpicking lawyer? Yeah, I am. Oh, I did see this guy. Yeah. Yeah. They are accusing him of not being able to do what he does. Like this one.
Watch the Blacklock video. Yeah.
I think I've seen it.
This company is suing him. And he has no chill.
Take your shim and put it at the
I'm here
bottom,
for it.
kind of to the right
I
of
love
that
it.
number. Push it in, wrap it around until you're fully seated behind the latch, and then just give it a few pumps. Do that
It's part of a pop can. I saw him take that pop can apart.
kind of off to the right near that number. Wrap it around until we're fully seated. Give it a few pumps and pull it out. This is why it's important to carry pocket pliers. Sometimes the tip will break off. You kind of get jammed in between the sliding bolt assembly and the lock body, and that's okay. Go ahead and slip it in, give it a few pumps, and pull it out. Sometimes if you push it in, you might feel like you can't quite hit the back. That's because there's that cutout for the latch. And if you're going in a little bit high, which I'll demonstrate here, they also come in blue. So if you kind of go in up here, I'm hitting that cutout, so we just go a little bit lower. Get around nice and easy. Give it a few pumps and pull it out.
D33's bot says,
Suing Lowell? They should be paying this man for testing.
Yeah, no, some people. Yeah, I don't know what they're suing him for. Gray Hatter, how you doing?
Addressing information is added to each piece of data, so the data can be transmitted to the first device in the forwarding path. The first device in the forwarding path uses that addressing information to determine the next hop in the forwarding path, and this process is repeated until the data reaches
Grey
the ultimate
Hatter
destination,
says,
which in our case
I'm doing a
is host
smile,
B.
smile.
Yeah.
Symmetric
The post office
says,
uses the destination
Here's to a
address that
Friday
you wrote
full
on the
of
letter to
shells,
determine the
not
final
shit shows
destination
equals.
and also the sorting
333
settings that the letter
says,
must pass.
Is it a free-course you're going through?
It is. There it go.
Symmetric says,
I took that course, I ended up getting a refund. Bar DMCHHH sound effect plaza. Dick.
Translated from Dutch. D33's bot says,
Thanks, Brave.
No problem, bruh. Oh my god. I've been watching repo videos lately. What do you call himself? Toe Goat? Dude's up in Cleveland. Like an hour away from me.
Symmetric says,
LMFAO. Lamau.
Translated from Haitian Creole.
He's gotta be here from me.
Him less than 3.
You know what I'm talking about? Toe Goat? It shouldn't be too hard to get to him.
Translated from German.
Yay. He never gets out of his truck. Hooks
No.
and goes.
No, this is someone else. He's got to get out of his truck. Or actually, no, he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to, but sometimes he does. And I haven't
Always
figured out,
has a
like,
spotter
when.
pre-check.
He does have a spotter, he said. Come on. I can't get it served up now. Toe Goat.
Got a massive beard.
Ben? Yeah. Eben. I'm butchering him. Yeah, that guy. Calm as cool as a cucumber, too. People screaming at him. One guy took a bat out of the trunk while he had it on the lift. I was like, oh, shit. Another guy squared up on him. He threw cash at him.
Yes.
Translated
guy?
from
Yeah.
Indonesian.
Always got his mouth open a little bit. And it's like Mona Lisa.
Yeah, he does.
Can't tell if he's smiling.
But yeah. He's up in Cleveland. I heard him talking about Lakewood, and I'm like, well, what are the odds? Up in Cleveland, and he was. I noticed one of the convenience stores that he was towing from because it was on my route when I was selling Red Bull or Arizona iced tea. I can't remember.
Oh shit, you gotta get him to tow your shit.
I wonder if he'd come down and just hook it up. Or see if I can meet him like off the interstate one time coming through. That would be awesome.
For a fee.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Okay, this is, for whatever reason, it's like getting like, I don't know where I'm at.
The reason the post office analogy has been used all these years to describe data transmission is because it works. Remember those chunks of data that your computer's ready to send? Every little chunk, every piece of that data has some addressing information added to it that can be used to forward it to its ultimate destination. Similar to a post office sorting center, the network devices along the forwarding path use the addressing information to
Symmetrics, how you doing today?
forward data to its final destination.
Okay, I get that.
Once host A has the data broken down into smaller pieces, addressing information is added to each piece of data, so the data can be transmitted to the first device in the forwarding path. The first device in the forwarding path uses that addressing information to determine the next hop in the forwarding path, and this process is repeated until the data reaches the ultimate destination, which in our case is host B. The post office uses the destination address that you wrote on the letter to determine the final destination and also the sorting setters that the letter must pass through in transit.
once the sorting centers are determined, there is a second address that is actually used to forward the
Okay. Just drove through a fort behind the slowest military vehicle ever. Unable to pass for about 45 minutes.
letter along its path. Let's take a look. When a letter arrives at a sorting center, the address of the sorting center is replaced with the address of the next sorting center in the forwarding path, and this process
But the origin doesn't change, right?
continues until the letter reaches the final sorting center, where the final sorting
Metric
center address
says
is removed, and the destination
45
address that you
minutes
wrote
at
on the
about
envelope
30
is used
miles
to
per
deliver the
hour
letter
in monsoon
to its
rains
final
long.
destination. Before host A transmits the small pieces of data on the network, it adds two addresses to the data. One address is for the ultimate destination for the data, and the other address is the address of the next hop in the forwarding path. The term for the address that is used for the next hop in the forwarding path is called a MAC address. You will learn more about these different address types later in this course.
MAC address, hardware specific.
Now remember, our goal is to transport data from host A to host B. Now, before that can happen, some information must be added to the data. The term we use for this added information is encapsulation. There's certain
But
information that must be
I
added.
did find some commercial space for only $700 per month. So if they have fiber internet available at the address my data center is full green light.
You just in the market for a data center, so you went and scoped out locations to make your own.
Metric says.
La variety.
Translated from Haitian Creole.
Oh. Hey, I'm jealous. I can barely figure out what to do with my computer and my own server. Jealous. You need a whole data center. What are you going to do with it? Can you tell us? Can you say?
You know I do data services, right?
Nope.
Like
You didn't tell me
SMB
what
data
you do.
services.
Uh,
I have my own racks and home lab in storage in LA. Data backups and small shit that someone else performs on my hardware.
cool. I didn't know that. No. Cool. That's what you should stream. Setting that up. That'd be fucking cool.
So right now I'm renting all the shit at a slight loss to keep customers.
Oh, got it.
It's potentially illegal, lol.
It's potentially illegal. Thank you for the 20 stream streaks, Spectre. How is it potentially illegal?
To forward the data to the next hop in the forwarding path, some information that must be added about the ultimate destination device and the actual destination application. Let's learn more about how this works. Look, you may not believe me. Now remember, our
Lol, the
goal is to
data I believe isn't allowed to exist on non-other company servers. Dick.
Oh,
Translated
it's
from
not
Dutch.
necessarily illegal, but against their policy, which you're helping out with I imagine, a cheaper
I did
rate than
write
a
scraper
standard
that
data center.
harvests Data. Dunno if they ever used that.
Now remember, our goal is to transport data from host A to host B. Now, before that can happen, some information must be added to the data. The term we use for this added
But they do
information
keep paying for updates, lol.
Maybe we could grow that model to Youngstown, Ohio. How much space do you have? 7? What did you say? How much space? It just says commercial space.
Metric says.
400 TB.
Translated from French.
When I left LA.
John says Neovinisbist says.
Small numbers, gotta bump those up.
That's
Metric
crazy.
says-
These businesses, these are in
Oh
business.
yay, 700 per month for I think like 500 SQR feet, but all I really need is an address to put 2 racks and an AC unit.
This is
John
wild.
says Neovinisbist says.
Tongue.
These people are
Metric
selling
says-
they're listed and they're not
Yeah,
even, they're
upgrading
still
to a
operating out of
petabyte.
these places. That place is busy as
John
hell.
says Neovinisbist says.
Good go ood.
500 square foot.
Metric says.
Office/warehouse.
Now we're
Not
talking,
retail.
right? Look at this guy. Now we're talking.
John says Neovinisbist says.
Well yeah, building owners can change hands while someone is still in it.
Metric says.
A basement.
Yay.
Ooh, nice and cool down there.
That'd be perfect.
John
99K.
says Neovinisbist says.
That's baller. Gotta verify internet quality/speed/pricing though.
They just ran
Metric
fiber
says-
throughout
I'd double that
the
as
city.
a LAN party.
John says Neovinisbist says.
Lol.
Metric says.
Internet availability is the primary factor. Where I live now I have 2 gig symmetric for $99.
John says Neovinisbist says.
Do you have 2 options? You want redundancy.
Metric says.
I have cable and fiber here.
John says Neovinisbist says.
Lol.
Metric says.
Cable is 400 down. And 30 up I think.
John says Neovinisbist says.
The absolute best I can get is 920 down/40 up over cable.
Oh, it's an old bank. It's an old bank? I don't think that's right.
Metric says.
Web link.
John says Neovinisbist says.
And it's like $150
It is a bank.
or
It's
so
an
a
old
month.
bank.
Metric says.
Carrot, it's insane how connected this backwards country state is. OMFG, I want it now.
I don't think that's it. It's not this. I don't think it's the same building. Oh wait. Oh, there they are. Those bollards. Yep, it is the same building. I don't know why it looks so different.
Yay, it is.
What are you guys talking about?
Oh look. Teresa Mechanical Room.
Did you find?
John
you,
says
you
Neovinisbist
looking it up on
says.
your computer? You already found it.
Theo is gonna fire up a colo.
It's a bank. It's an old bank. There's probably a vault still in it. That basement was freaking like, that's some like old Italian mobster shit down there. Look at the floor. Look at that
Matrix
floor.
With proper venting. No. On your screen.
John says Neovinisbist says.
He's gonna Scrooge McDuck that shit.
Hang on. I can't do anything with that. My student loan is almost that much.
Hack
Yeah,
the
that looks
Planet
new.
says.
100K for what? D.
This building, Zemetrix is going to buy and retrofit it, and I'm going to run his an East Coast data center.
Metric says.
How much land? Mineral rights? LOL.
John says Neovinisbist says.
Roll it into a huge personal loan, 300K.
This former
Go.
bank building offers an impressive 4,000 square foot of a large open space with soaring vaulted ceilings, perfect for a grand living area to be transformed into a creative business venture. 4.5
Metric
bathrooms for
says,
convenience, proper stores,
Dark
original
web data
charm.
center.
Stores original charm with 2 secure vaults and safety deposit boxes. The additional 4,000 square foot in the basement expands your possibilities. 2 additional half bathrooms. Maintenance will be a concern with a brand new furnace on the roof. Fresh gas lines to the street. They did that actually. They did redid gas lines in town. The unique drive-through window adds to its appeal, providing opportunities for a variety of uses, etc., etc. Buildings over 50 years old. Natural gas. Gas.
Hack the Planet says.
Poor network. D.
Metric says.
Another thing I thought of doing is getting a 40 container and putting it in a trailer park, but then you gotta have mad security for the sole fact that it's in a trailer park.
It depends.
John says
I think it depends.
says.
Polo here and get a safe deposit box included.
Metric says.
Store your data and your documents. Drive through USB port smile.
Hack the Planet says.
Drive-through window, perfect for dropping off USB drives for the data center.
Yeah, really.
John says Neovimisbist says.
Bug out cache space.
Anyways, that's
Metric
what
says,
buildings are going.
AWOL backpacks available now.
Your 500 square foot. Actually, this is what, 4,000. I don't know why it came up in the search when I put in 5.
John says Neovimisbist says.
Sell your house.
Metric says.
Low-key hideout $5,000 per month. Dick.
Translated from Dutch.
They call it a dick. Sell my house. Okay. Dude, they are desperate. They desperately want me to take out equity out of my home. I get probably once or every other week I get a letter from the mortgage lender about accessing the equity in our home.
Lamau.
Translated from Haitian
So
Creole.
there you go. That's what 4,000 gets you in the hood.
Do it. Paid off?
No, it's not paid
Pellet
off.
equals wealth generation.
No, it's not paid off. Half? Probably half paid off. Another 15 years, probably. Not paid off. Nothing's fucking paid off. I don't know
John
even what a
says
HELOC is.
says-
You're not even
I'd
speaking
build
my
something here
language.
if I had better internet options.
Hack the Planet says.
Yay, same happened to me when I own my home. Home equity loans are such a scam. D.
Metric says.
HELOC equals home equity line of credit.
How is that wealth generation? If I'm taking out money, home equity, that makes no sense to me. They're loaning the money back that I have in my home. They're not giving it to me for free.
Is encapsulation. There's certain information.
It doesn't matter. That's so far away. Like I don't even want to waste my brain, waste a thought on it.
More about how this works. Now remember, our goal is to transport data.
Take out a
to
loan.
host A.
That enables you more purchasing power. Get rental property that generates positive income. Rinse and repeat.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Yay NP. I always just tell people it's easy. Just buy more Monnery. JKJK less than 3.
Yeah.
Translated from Indonesian.
To host B. Now, before that can happen, some information must be added to the data. The term we use for this added information.
I saw actually right around the corner from our house, there was a little plaza that they They renovated. They put in like a fitness studio, a disc golf place, and a co-working place, but it's not even co-working. It's like individual,
They just keep over-leveraging
individual
real estate.
executive
That
suites.
strategy has never caught up with anyone. D.
John says Neovamisbist says,
Fit in D's. Oh wait.
But I don't know. I just don't see a co-working space as, I don't know. Doesn't matter.
There's certain information that must be added to forward the data to the next hop in the forwarding path, some information that must be added about the ultimate destination device, and the actual destination application. Let's learn more about how this works.
Symmetric says,
Look, you may not believe me.
I
but
made
we used to
$20
actually take
today
our data
though.
and write it on
Free
a piece
money
of paper.
equals.
Then
The
we would put
dollar
it in-
store said we need ones and fives. I was like, I have 500 in ones. I'll sell you 200 ones for $220.
Hack the Planet says,
You just stack people on top of each other vertically so you can maximize the value of your square footage.
AKA apartments. They did that? They just go to the fucking bank.
Out of an envelope and add some addressing information so our data could be transported to the
Symmetric
correct
says,
destination. Well, in
Lamau,
modern times, what do
apparently
we
they
do?
couldn't.
We take that same data
Lol.
and we store it in memory on a computer. But how does that data get addressed?
Like I
and
said
formatted
backwards,
so it can be
place here
transmitted
lol.
to a remote destination? Let's see how this works.
No, you're in service, like service society.
Well, today, what I've really done.
People, I was just talking to my wife today about that. Like, I went and picked up Small Beanie Hacker got on honor roll, so we told her, I says, you know, what do you want for your reward? She worked so hard, and she chose sushi. So I went, we ordered it. I had some running around I had to do, and then I went and picked up. And while I was there, like 5 people, like one, Grubhub, Uber Eats, or whatever, came in and grabbing food. I'm like, that just does not make sense, at least to us, at least doesn't make sense to us right now. Like, those fees on top of, like, you can't even get like a meal for like less than $10 now. I mean, you're probably looking at $15 for like fries, a burger, and a Coke, and then like another $10 or $5 or $10 in fees. Like, you're paying $20 for, like, this just does not make sense. At least not to us right now.
Hack the Planet says,
I'm surprised we haven't come up with alternative strategies to finance real estate. I looked up the 30-year interest due on a $350K home, and it was almost $700K.
Yeah.
Symmetric says,
I think it was like 2022 or 23 that I spent 10K on DoorDash for the year.
Fuck that noise. Sorry. If you can do it, I'm happy for you, but fuck, no way. No way. It's the convenience, right? It's the convenience of it.
Yay, we need financial education for kids TBH. It's a fucking addiction. Teach children how to live within their means. Teach them about taxes, investing, etc.
Teach them about investing. Yeah, exactly. Fuck, you didn't get any of that. I'm not blaming. I'm not assigning blame. My point is that, like, we didn't learn anything about that growing up. It's fucking health class and history class and driver's ed and, like, nothing about turning a profit. Nothing. The goal was to get out and get a job for these conglomerates.
Hack the Planet says,
Ooh, I'm interested in etc.
Symmetric says,
We did in SoCal. Banks here had youth education.
Nope.
Teaching children to save money.
Nope. Nope. I can't tell my kids enough. Save it before you spend it. Fuck credit cards. They are ridiculous now. Ridiculous. 29%? 20 based on your credit worthiness, 21 to 29%. Guess what? You're getting a 29%. Ridiculous.
I had my first bank account at like 7. It had a lil vinyl notebook.
That's cool.
With stickers and cards and shit. No. You're getting 32% because there was a...
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah.
Not literal shit, mind you.
Hack
Yeah,
the
of
Planet
course.
says,
They told kids to pursue their dreams. What a crock of shit. Your goals should be barely scraping by for a few years, and eventually you can take 1 or 2 good vacations a year.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so fucked. It's so fucked. I've been talking to my son a lot about what he's gonna go into. He's just brilliant at math. He's brilliant. So he just fucking gets it. He's in pre-calculus right now. Pre-algebra? No, it's definitely beyond algebra. Anyways, he's looking at sports management, and I says, but you got to take a look at data science. I think he would just kill it in data science.
Have my letter written. I have just laid my pen down and rifling through my desk looking for an envelope. Well, today what I've really done. There
Hack
are
the
some terms
Planet
that are
says,
used to refer to
90% of people who take advanced math in college probably never use it post-graduation. D.
Now remember, our goal is to transport data.
I mean, I really like for him to get into engineering.
From host A to host B. Now, before that can happen, some information must be added to the data. The term we use for this added information is encapsulation. There's certain information that must be added to forward the data to the next hop in the forwarding path, some information that must be added about the ultimate destination device, and the actual destination application. Let's learn more about how this works. You may not believe me, but now remember, our goal is to transport data from host A
Metric
to
says,
host B. Now,
I took algebra in 5th grade. And pre-algebra in 9th grade, LOL. School systems are fucked.
Yeah, he's beyond algebra. I can't remember what it is. But I hear you. Yeah.
Some information must be added to the data. The term we use for this added information is encapsulation. There's certain information that must be added to forward the data to the next hop in the forwarding path, some information that must be added about the ultimate destination device, and the actual destination application. Let's learn more about how this works. Look, you may not believe me, but we used to actually take our data and write it on a piece of paper. Then we would put it inside of an envelope and add some addressing information so our data could be transported to the correct destination.
Trig.
Well, in modern times, what do? We take that same data and we store it in memory.
I think he's calculus.
Addressed and formatted so it can be transmitted to a remote destination. Let's see how this works.
Hack the Planet says,
Yeah, I took a class called Math
back to our
Applications
old
my
world.
senior year.
Look at
I
Rob.
lovingly
Look
called
at,
it Math for
look
Idiots.
at Rob
The
sneaking
people
in
the
there.
class didn't appreciate that nomenclature, but the course was a joke.
Rob, I hope all is well. It's good to see you. Your streams have been very passionate lately about teaching, and you know what I mean? Teaching and sharing your knowledge with people, which is awesome.
Rooks Rob says,
You too. Life is good today.
Huge fan of Rob. Huge fan of WX Rob. Man lives with passion, with wanting to share the knowledge he has. And his streams when he's doing that and he's teaching are awesome. Oh, hold on real quick. Hey.
Abby, Dominic's taking me to Abby's house.
Oh, so
Metric
Abby's not coming.
says, idiotic math would have been better suited. Smile, smile.
Rooks Rob says,
I wish there were time to do it all. Lol, love to do coding online.
Smetric says,
Ladies and gentlemen, Small Beanie
Didn't
Hacker.
he used to stream? Dick.
Translated from Dutch. Hack the Planet says,
What calculus does teach beyond the specific skills is focused attention to detail and applications of the scientific method.
Oh, agree. Dos cerveza, por favor. It's all my Spanish. That's all I got. What else do you need?
So back to our old world analogy, I have my letter written. I have just laid my pen down and I'm rifling through my desk looking for an envelope. Well, today what I've really done is I'm about to hit send on that email. It's ready to go. But this data must be addressed and prepared for transport.
Yeah. So this is encapsulation. Encapsulation.
3 layers of encapsulation that are added to data for transport. The first
Rob, you're looking at me attempting to diversify myself. I'm supposedly having another an in-person interview possibly next week, and they are at Juniper Networks house.
Hack the Planet says,
I learned troubleshooting by missing fixed targets on the firing range in the Army. I had trouble shooting a lot.
Rooks Rob says,
Diversification unlocked.
Nicely done. Nicely done. Troubleshooting. Or troubleshitting. Either one could be problematic.
This layer is called the transport layer. This layer identifies the applications that are generating the data. The next layer, the network layer, identifies the addresses of the devices that are running the applications that are generating the data.
Okay, I know that.
The final layer of encapsulation, the data link layer, or the Ethernet layer in our case, contains the network address of the device that's generating the data and the address of the device that is the next hop in the forwarding path for the data. Let's take a deeper look at these layers. The first layer of encapsulation, the transport layer, identifies the applications on the hosts that are generating the data. When an application launches on a device,
Hold on. I'm gonna check locations. Oh, Dominic, he's taking her.
of the applications that are communicating this data are included in the network layer. So when the data arrives at the destination host, that destination host can determine, oh, this is data for this application, for example, your email client or your web browser. And when the remote host replies, it knows exactly the port number of the application on the remote host to reply back to.
Hack the
There is some
Planet says,
They actually did have a method for troubleshooting when you had troubleshooting. It was called the sports method. Slap, pull, observe, release, tap, squeeze.
Acronyms. Do, 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 do.
Applications on the host that are generating the data. When an application launches on a device, it is assigned a unique port number. And the port number of the application
Yeah.
this data are included in the network layer.
Okay.
When the data arrives at the destination host, that destination host can determine, oh, this is data for this application. For example, your email client or your web browser. And when
The Army had an
remote host
acronym for the
replies, it knows
acronymization of
exactly the port
everything.
number of
D.
the application on the remote host to reply back.
Oh, shit.
There is some additional important information that is encapsulated at this layer. Let's take a look.
So Takora, CCNA. Like, we haven't gotten into anything Juniper specific, in my opinion. Like, all this is just like baseline networking, right?
It was called basic substitution, but we lovingly called it bullshit. D.
Transmission Control Protocol, or TCP. TCP enables an application to verify.
Right.
There are two primary protocols that operate at the transport layer. One of them is called the Transmission Control Protocol, or TCP. TCP enables an application to verify that the data that was transported from the host was received. You see, TCP can include sequence numbers in the packets as it's performing encapsulation. When the packets arrive at the remote destination, the remote host can reply back that I have received data with these sequence numbers. So the source device can determine the data that I sent was received. Another key benefit of including these sequence numbers is if any of the data did not arrive at the remote host, it can request the missing data by requesting just the packets that include these specific sequence numbers. The entire file can be transported again, just the missing pieces of data. This helps make network data transport more efficient. Now there's another protocol transport layer called the User Datagram Protocol, UDP.
Hack the Planet says.
So the thing about networking, the vendor-specific stuff can be learned quickly in a day or two once you have the fundamentals down with networking generally.
Oh shit, I thought it was the other way around. Okay. Yeah, so, I mean, I guess that makes sense the more that I think about it.
When I think about data for streaming applications, from streaming audio and video, it's going pretty quickly my audio and my video stream, and I don't really care if every single packet arrived at the destination because we've actually moved along in the audio and the video. Counting these packets and acknowledging the delivery would slow this process down and make the applications not work very well. The applications...
He explained them differently than what he's got on the screen. He talked about TCP first, which is slower but and reliable, and UDP second, which is quick and not reliable.
Yay, TCP IP doesn't really change much between network stacks. There's a reason they call them protocols, aka rules/standards for communicating.
Data needs to be guaranteed for delivery and request the correct protocol be used for encapsulation at this layer. Once the transport encapsulation is complete, encapsulation is performed. The network encapsulation includes the source and destination IP addresses of the devices that are generating this data for transport. The transport devices in your network, like the routers, will analyze this layer of encapsulation to discover the destination IP address of this data and to determine the forwarding path to transport it to the ultimate destination device. There is some
what is changed between vendors is how, specifically, you configure the networking devices.
Okay, that makes sense. I'd like to get to a point at the end of this weekend, like Sunday, where I got GNS3 fired up and I'm firing up a
Madam Fabulous
switch firewall.
Might become OOO.
For now, if you can remember the source and destination IP addresses of the devices that are generating this data are included here, and this data is important for transporting the data from the source all the way to the destination device. The final layer of encapsulation, the data link layer, includes the source address of the device that's generating the data and the destination address of the device that is the next hop in the forwarding path. The addresses that are encapsulated at this layer are changed at each hop in the forwarding path. There is also some data integrity information that is included at the end of the data. This data is used to verify that the data has not been corrupted in transit. There are some terms that are used to refer to this type of data encapsulation. The layers that are added to the front of the data are called headers. Anything added to the end of the data is called a trailer. That's all I have to say. Pretty simple. You can remember that. So in our example here, the data has 3 headers and a single trailer.
Might be worth using my Proxmox. You're going to hit resource limitations on your home lab for setting up more than a few devices.
Stone says.
Data encapsulation.
Correct. You win. Blystone, how you doing? Okay. Fair enough. That makes sense, Tagora.
Let me ask you.
I just want to be able to, when they call me for the interview and I sit with them, I just want to get to a point where I can say, look, I have messed with some of these devices and
Hack the Planet says.
In a
I'll hook you up later.
Educational capacity.
Stone says.
Not Juniper frown, go Cisco frown.
I don't have to tell you why, Stone. The company is a Juniper house. He said we got rid of Cisco a few years, 5 years ago or something like that.
Madam Fabulous says,
You want to say aye when they
Oh my God, Cypher, stuck on it. Excuse me.
Wise Stone says,
You vendor lock in.
Whatever. I'll use freaking a Commodore 64 if they pay a brother right.
Could be worse. Aruba hurts.
Question. What do you think happens when the data arrives at the destination device? If you answered de-encapsulation, you are correct. The destination device examines the
Planet
data link
says,
header to
The
determine
way I
if the
phrased it
destination...
during the interview, I'm familiar with how to administrate networks generally, and I've been preparing for entry-level Juniper certifications.
I'm going to copy that real quick and have that on demand. Thank you.
MAC address matches the inbound interface. If it does, the frame checksum sequence is validated to determine that the data was not corrupted in transit. If everything checks out, the data link header is removed and the remaining data is forwarded to the layer 3 software for processing. Layer 3 processing includes determining if the destination IP address in the layer 3 header matches the IP address that's configured on the inbound interface. If these values match,
Here's the thing,
network
they
layer
aren't
header can be
likely to
removed.
ask you how long you've been preparing, or when you plan to take the certification. So nothing is false even if you just started studying today.
It's true. Right. I hear you, but I hear you. I genuinely want to know, though. I genuinely want to learn. Sorry, Mike.
Wise Stone says,
What's the interview for?
Sorry, I almost said your mom. So they are looking for a system administrator, a network administrator, and a security systems administrator. But it's a small group. He says he's got like 6 people right now that run IT for all of the company, and it's a pretty big company. He says everyone's got a role, but we all wear multiple hats, which I'm not, that is not foreign to me. And I even said, that's fine. I enjoy learning from other people. I enjoy learning from people that are experts in their field or experts at what they're doing. So I welcome that. I welcome that. It's a Microsoft 365 environment.
It's funny because the only way you get yourself into hot water is when you misrepresent yourself. But there are great ways to represent yourself faithfully while addressing their needs or concerns.
Yeah.
Wise Stone says,
I mean, if you want to fight the 5'4" plus 315-pound Irishman that lifts steel all day, you're welcome to go after my mom.
John says, Neovermispist says,
Theo is a weenie.
I was just joking.
I mean, hi.
They get VM. Actually, they have on-site equipment. They have a data center. They have a backup, the disaster recovery site, actually, too. They have switches, firewalls. They run VMware. They actually have VMs running for web servers, Microsoft 365 Office. And I think they said what they want to get set up next is like Teams and SharePoint. So I think they're like in the process of switching over from.
Wise Stone says,
So network administrator is what you're interviewing for? Or system admin?
Pure says,
No, he said he wanted me to.
got VMware money.
I asked him if he wanted, how would I fit into these equations? He said probably system or security systems administrator. He's like, is that what you want? I says, yeah, I mean, I'd like security, but I'm not got to keep me. You don't got to pin me into just that. You know, if that's my title, that's fine. But I would like to. I would be more than happy wearing those other hats, essentially.
John says Neovimispis.
We.
And the remaining data can be forwarded up to the transport layer software for further processing. Transport layer processing includes examining the transport header and determining the destination port for the data. Once this has been determined, the transport header can be removed, and now the data is delivered to the destination application on that device.
Excuse me.
Hack the Planet says,
Yay Blue Team is typically dramatically understaffed for what they do, so if you take on something like a SOC analyst role, you won't likely have time for much else.
Wise Stone says,
Okay.
That's a lot of hats with that setup. Could be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I just wanted them to know that if I'm doing security stuff, you know, I'd be willing to hop out and do other things. Small Beanie Hacker is back with her friend. All right, I am going to get some dinner. I haven't eaten yet. And I could use a few beers. So we're going to raid Shy Hat, who's doing their lesson right now. We raided Ragano last time. I like Ragano.
How's the studies coming along? You're looking good. Hope you're feeling good.
Xane, thank you.
Catch yous later.
I'm pivoting for a little bit, Xane, but thank you. I'm going to try to get up early and stream early tomorrow. She's got soccer tryouts at 9 a.m. Maybe I should try to do it after. We'll see.
Wise Stone says,
Have a good one, Theo.
Good to see you, Whitestone. I got that at Amazon. I have a couple Amazon applications in. Haven't seen anything just yet, though. Hey, Jess, Nori, Spectre, thank you, mods, as always. Zmetrix, thanks for the conversation. Hope you enjoyed dinner. Madam Fabulous, Deathwish, thank you for your patience with the Raspberry Pi giveaway. Ragano, Xhane, Grey Hatter,
John
Pure,
says Neovimispis says,
Amused.
Whitestone, Hack the Planet. Have a great night.
Madam Fabulous says,
Ooh,
translated from Indonesian.
Say hello to Shy Hat for me.
John says Neovimispis says,
You Browns.
You mean Go Browns.
John says Neovimispis says,
Make sure and use NeoVim. NeoVim is best.
NeoVim is not best. NeoVim is garbage, and I hate it. See ya.
If you search for them. Okay, so we have the new IP address. So we're gonna do the same thing. Wow, Theo is raiding with the party of 23 on Twitch. Thank you very much for the raid, Theo. Riffraff inbound. Yeah, so we're just doing a little lesson on how to learn about some networking services. So this is the link that we're doing. John 2.0 says Theo loves NeoVim. Of course, Theo loves NeoVim. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so let's type in the new IP address and then let's do our nmap scan. So this is task number 11. Start up the machine. Okay, so I need to change my.
What are you working on?
Just putting away clothes, then bring up all my crap, and then start working on my collectibles.
Okay. All right.
Command. Command is just going to look like this. Let me go ahead